I get a lot of requests both via email and Facebook and that type of thing about going back to a little bit of basics as far as popping and stick baiting that we do is concerned. So I'm going to run through some of the things that we do and a couple of tricks and tactics that are going to make you more successful. First of all, I'm just going to define a few things for you. A stick bait is a lure that's sort of like a cigar shaped lure like that, no lip. And we use that, most of them are surface, but you do get some subsurface ones. The ones that we use most of the time on the surface because we want to see the bite. But yeah, that's basically what a stick bait will look like. They come in a variety of sizes and weights and that type of thing. This one comes rigged with trebles. You'll get some of them that are rigged with inline singles like this. That's really all up to you. Then we go on to a lure called a popper. A popper is a similar type of thing but with a big cup face. What that does is it pushes a lot of water, makes a big splash. You get them like this one with the jets, which will make bubbles as well. You'll get something like that which will push a lot of water without making a huge splash, and then you get cup face poppers like that, which is going to make a big surface disturbance. Obviously the bigger the popper is and the bigger the face, the bigger the splash is going to be. And then you'll get one like this, which is sort of a high-speed popper. This guy you'll fish on a quick retrieve, and he kind of skips along the surface like a fleeing bait fish such as a half-beak or that type of a thing, garfish. And all of those lures have applications where they're going to be very successful, and understanding when to throw which one, that's what's really going to change your fishing for you. A few shows back when we were in the Seychelles, we fished a shallow ledge, which was probably like 4 or 5 meters deep and a couple of 100 meters across, so you couldn't really throw across it. And you're working a lot of water there. And a lure like this type of popper is spot on for that. You want to cover a lot of water quickly. The fish are high up and they're feeding, so they're very aggressive, and you'll get their attention really fast with a lure like this. Then a big cup face popper like this. A place like Cape Town where you've got really deep water and you're calling fish up. Wherever you're fishing deep water and need to actually call fish from deep down, you want a lure that causes a big disturbance. And a simple rule of thumb is the deeper the water or the deeper the fish, the slower you need to retrieve. If you've got fish up on the surface, you can wind really fast and you'll get the bite. If you have to call him from 15, 20, 30 meters down, you need to slow it right down. Otherwise, all that's going to happen is your lure is going to come flitting across the surface while he's still way down on the bottom, and he's not going to have the time to come up and waste the energy to come up and not reach what he's after. When the water flattens out and you have these beautiful calm days, you want something with a bit more of a subtle presentation, and that's where a stick bait really comes into its own. When we were fishing today, we had that same calm conditions, and you'd get fish sort of just rolling on the surface, and that's when a stick bait is absolutely dynamite. I want to cover 2 different knots that we use when attaching a popper or a stick bait. The first one is a loop knot. So if I want to fish a stick bait and I'm not using a swivel or a split ring, I'll tie a knot that gives a loop in the front, and that will allow more movement on a lure like a stick bait. So basically what you do is you do a circle like that, 2 turns, and when you pull it, same as tying a figure of 8, you'll see a little number 8 forming in your line. I'm using a yellow line here just because it's easier to see. Our normal leader is clear, and it's anywhere from 1.2 mil, which is around 120 pound, to 1.5 mil, which is around 200 pound. So depending on the outfit you're going to be fishing, that's sort of the size of the leader we're talking about. If you try and do it with a thinner line and you're putting a lot of pressure, you can have a problem with the lure on its nose actually cutting through your line, in which case I'd much rather fish with a swivel and a split ring as opposed to this system. Right, once you've got that little figure of 8 there, pass it through the eye of the lure and you follow the exact path that you came through the first time, and you will go. So basically now you've got a figure of 8 and the line's gone down through that, through the eye of the lure and up to the top. And all you need to finish this off is a half hitch at the top. And you pull that tight, and that's basically the loop knot that you've got. Trim that off, and that's the same knot that we use for tuners in the Cape on the baits and that type of stuff, so it holds. There's not a problem at all with strength. And because you're tying on 200-pound line, even if your knot is not 100% strength and you lose 30% of the strength, you're still on 150 pound, which is way higher than your line breaking strength. If you're not going to be tying a loop knot, this is what I'd suggest you do. So you go either swivel at the top to a split ring to your lure. That still gives the lure plenty of movement because it's on a split ring, and you can tie a thinner line or a better knot right on the top of that. If you're fishing for GTs and that type of thing, 100% I'd go that route because you're going to put a lot of pressure and you need to stop the fish. If you're fishing for tuna, it doesn't really matter if he takes line, he's not going anywhere. He's not going to try and reef you or anything like that. So you can fish a lighter drag, and that's why we fish that way. When we're out on the boat, what I'll do is I'll normally keep all my poppers and stick baits without hooks on. And the reason for that is if you put hooks on these things, it becomes really bulky and it seems to hook everything on the boat and in your bag. So normally what you'll have is a bag with a whole lot of poppers unrigged like this, and then I'll have a set of trebles with the split ring on. All right, so just like that. And then when you change lures, make sure you've got a good pair of split ring pliers, and it's basically just a case of take the hooks that I've got the ring on and just slip them onto the popper. And that means that changing lures is going to take you literally like 30 seconds, and you can change from one lure to the other. This system means you use way less hardware, so less hooks, less split rings, all of that type of stuff, and you just change your hooks as you change lures. I'll have normally 2 or 3 sizes of trebles that are rigged like that for the different size lures, and I'll just chop and change as and when the conditions dictate it.